Bonjour, book club. Welcome back to the library. We're in chapter 7 today, and our French word is paix, peace. You know, I think it's funny. I'm looking at some of the words we've been learning. We have love, hope, peace. If our book club ever goes to France, they're going to think we are the nicest group. So today, do you know what I want to do first before we get into this amazing chapter? In this chapter, he talks about one of his books that he gives is The Picture of Dorian Gray, which you know is one of my all-time favorites. And Monsieur Perdue, he gives these books as medicine for people's soul, for their minds, peace of mind. And that's what got me thinking about peace today. And so I want to do something real quick. I want us to feel peace. I want this to be a place that you come and you feel amour, you feel love, you feel hope, you feel peace, you feel a community, you feel that kindness, that safety. So will you do something with me real quick? I'm going to grab my book, Dorian Gray, and we're going to take some long, deep breaths. And I'm just going to read some of that medicine, those words, they're medicine. Now, of course, with Picture of Dorian Gray, I'm not talking the whole book. I'm talking the beautiful parts. I think about like that saying, you eat the meat, spit out the bones. Or I think if you eat an orange, you don't eat the peel and the seeds. I only know of one book, and this might be kind of fun. I know of one book that from cover to cover, the whole thing is love. The whole thing is peace. The whole thing is just that good, right? Do you know what book that is? Go to the comments if you know. I'd love to see how well you know me. So I want to grab Picture of Dorian Gray, and we're just going to read some of those words that are medicine, that are a balm to the soul, and see if we feel better. Okay, take a long, deep breath in and release. And just take this time to not think about anything else. Just allow yourself this short time just to be at peace, to know everything is okay. On this next breath, as you release, I want you to just let all the muscles in your body relax. Breathe in and out. Let your shoulders fall limp. Maybe release any tension you might be holding in your jaw. Just allow yourself this time and let these words just wash over you. The studio was filled with a rich odor of roses, and when the light summer wind stirred amidst the trees of the garden, there came through the open door the heavy scent of the lilac, or the more delicate perfume of the pink flowering thorn. From the corner of the divan of Persian saddlebags on which he was lying, smoking, as was his custom, innumerable cigarettes, Lord Henry Wotton could just catch the gleam of the honey-sweet and honey-colored blossoms of laburnum, whose tremulous branches seemed hardly able to bear the burden of a beauty so flame-like as theirs. And now and then, the fantastic shadows of birds in flight flitted across the long tussore silk curtains that were stretched in front of the huge window, producing a kind of momentary Japanese effect and making him think of those pallid, jade-faced painters of Tokyo who, through the medium of an art that is necessarily immobile, seek to sense the swiftness and motion, the sullen murmur of the bees shouldering their way through the long, unmown grass, are circling with monotonous insistence around the dusty gilt horns of the straggling woodbine seemed to make the stillness more oppressive. The dim roar of London was like the burden note of a distant organ. Ah, and in the center of the room, clamped to an upright easel, stood the full-length portrait of a young man of extraordinary personal beauty. And in front of it, some little distance away, was the artist himself, Basil Hallward. Is that like medicine? Can you smell the perfume of the pink flowering thorn? Can you picture the studio with the light coming in through the windows and the rich odor of roses? Beautiful. That's good medicine, my wonderful friends. Chapter 7, the little Paris bookshop. Monsieur Perdue, he's thinking about Catherine. He's thinking about the book he wants to take her about crying. He's wondering how she's settling in to their little building there. He says that Catherine, as he's saying her name, it trips lightly off of his tongue. I like how he describes the buildings on their street. Each facade was painted a different pastel shade. Oh, can you picture what a beautiful street where all the buildings were pastel colors? We have a baker, a wine merchant, a tobacconist. There's a bistro with red awning whose savory pancakes were soft and tasty. So Perdue goes in and sits down to get some food, and the waiter Theory comes, and he has an e-book reader. Now Theory, he's one who would have his nose in a novel at all times. Even between orders, he was reading. It said his back was actually crooked over from hauling heavy books around all the time. He says, I can only breathe if I read, Perdue. And now as they're talking about these e-book readers, where Theory thinks of it as the greatest invention of the century, Perdue is thinking this is the final nail in the coffin for booksellers. You know, it makes me kind of think of how I think of my books here. Why I haven't done e-books yet is because they're my photo album, and something kind of beautiful. My daughter and her friends came and stayed here at the house, and they're going through our old photo albums, and I heard them saying, do you know what? We need to start taking pictures and making photo albums so we have memories like this. There's something different about it, something different about a book or a photo album than just flipping on a device. I mean, both are great, but I don't think books and photo albums will go away. And I love to see they're still an appeal to the younger generations. These girls, they're in their early 20s. They love to come up here. And I'd catch them many times. I'd come home and they'd be sitting in my chair and laying on the floor and just reading all the books on my shelves here. Oh, it touched my heart. So Perdue, now he needs to go deliver this book for crying to Catherine. And now on his way back up to her room, he's running into all these characters that live in the building. And this one, she's pretty funny. Rosalette. Listen what he says about this. Rosalette had a chronological streak. She enjoyed registering her fellow citizens' neuroses, intimacies, and habits, plotting them on a scale of decency, and then knowledgeably passing on her opinion to others. She was generous in that regard. That's a nice way of saying she was a gossip. I love the banter and just the humor of this book. This is my kind of humor. So now we get to Claudine, and Perdue had given her a picture of Dorian Gray, which I think is beautiful. I don't think Claudine fully appreciated it, and Perdue is like, he couldn't even understand. Let me just read this short little section again, because I thought it was adorable. So she says, Perdue, please call me Claudine. I don't stand on ceremony. Now that gray was so amusing. It only took me 2 hours. But if I were Dorian, I'd never look at that picture. It's depressing. And they can't have had Botox back then. Madame Gulliver, Oscar Wilde spent 6 years writing it. He was later sentenced to prison and died a short time afterward. Didn't he deserve a little more than 2 hours of your time? Oh, poppycock, that won't cheer him up now. These characters. But you know, I understand what Perdue's saying. I read a little bit, one of these tabs every day. It's my medicine. Matter of fact, if you saw my video yesterday in my cozy reading chair, I sitting up on the mountain and just reading little snippets of Rilke, little snippets of Picture of Dorian Gray, these books that we just return to again and again. I like this. One of Madame Gulliver's hobbies was to lie in wait for Monsieur Perdue. Seems like a lot of people do that to him. I think people like being around him. Perdue had organized a book club for Madame Baume and the widows of Rue Montagnard. I thought that's cool. He made a book club for them. They hardly ever had received a visitor from their children or grandchildren and were withering away in front of their televisions. They loved books, but more than that, literature was an excuse to get out of their flats and hand around colorful lady liqueurs for close examination and tasting, right? It's just that, it's that social thing of a book club. And I love that we have that here, even though we're not maybe in person, face to face, but I still feel that intimacy. And a matter of fact, there's a lot more people in this club that comment. So would you do me a favor right now? Just go to the comments and say hi so we can all say hello to you and that we love you and are so glad that you're here. So now Perdue is still just trying to get to Catherine's door, and finally he gets there. And it says he knocked on her green door and realized that he had been looking forward to this moment. Are you sensing something here maybe? How Catherine rolls off of his tongue. He's been waiting for this all day. Hello, he whispered. I've brought some books. He put down the paper bag against the door. As Perdue stood up, Catherine opened it. Short, blonde hair, mistrustful, but with soft, pearl gray eyes beneath delicate eyebrows. Her feet were bare, and she was wearing a dress with a necklace that gave a faint glimpse of her collarbone. She was holding an envelope. Monsieur, I found the letter. So now we have a little mystery. What is this letter? And then I'm also getting, is there maybe some kind of feeling starting to stir? Maybe a romance blooming? I can't wait to find out. What is the letter? And what is going to happen with Perdue and Catherine? All right, my wonderful friends. Did you guys enjoy that? Are you loving our book club? You are a blessing. Life is a gift. And I love you.